Hello everybody, welcome to video tutorial introduction to database. Today we will discuss about the meaning of database, DBMS and so on. We discuss about database basically. Section 1, Introduction to database. Goals. In the section 1, the student will recognize the meaning of a database. DBMS or database management system, component of DBMS environment like people, procedure, database, and many more. And then advantage and disadvantage of DBMS. And the last one is we discuss about three-level database architecture. Okay. Some common use of database. You can see on the slide, there are some common use of a database system. Number one, maybe I will give an example about purchase from supermarket. When you come to the supermarket or retail industry to buy maybe some goods, there you will make an order which will be served by the cashier. Yeah. Then the cashier will scan the product to see a list of the price list, item name, total payment for the product you have purchased, and you will print an invoice from the system. Then you will pay for all the item you have taken. All the purchase data that you have made will be stored in the database. Another example is when you pay for good or service using a credit card or debit card. Yeah. All transactions that you make using the card will be stored in the database. All transaction history like location, store name, yeah, and all about your purchase behavior will be saved in the database. Other examples such as when you want to book a ticket and travel again, such as in application like Traveloka, Agoda, and many others example of application that are used in help you in the preparing your vacation. Then all data about your vacation history will be saved in the database. Yeah. In some case, travel agent use your data for marketing purpose or maybe for give special offer to you about hotel, yeah, ticket and travel experience based on your data in the database. Other example is like when you using the local library in your campus. Yeah, the database application save all borrow data. Yeah, librarian data, fine, book, and others data related to in the library. Yeah. And then you can see the slide. The other example, when you taking insurance, yeah, renting video, when you googling about the segment, and when you study in the university, start from registration, payment, using e-learning or learning management system in business like Binus Maya, yeah. So, what is database? Yeah, what is database? What the meaning of database? Database is a shared collection of logically related data, yeah, and description of data, yeah, of description of this data, yeah, designed to meet the information need of an organization. So, database designer create design of a database to meet information need of organization, yeah. And then system catalog or metadata. Yeah, what the meaning of system catalog or metadata? System catalog or metadata provide a description of data to enable program data independence. Yeah. Metadata is like when you want to save the customer number, you must know information about the maximal length of the phone number. Yeah, input data in the phone number must be a number, yeah, not allow character on something like add and many and others, yeah. An attribute not allow null value. It is metadata, information about data. Logically related data comprises entity, attribute, and relationship of an organization information. Database logically related to data comprises entity, attribute, relationship of an organization information. Maybe I give an example, like entity is like a student. Then attribute of the entity, student is student ID, student name, GPA, date of birth, email, and many more. And for the relationship in the entity student, they pick relationship between entity, might be like student has relationship with class entity. So the student will attend to the class, to record the attendance, Then next, when we create an and maintain database, we need a DBMS like SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, IBM DB2, and many more. So what the meaning of DBMS? The DBMS is a software system, that enable a user to define, create, maintain, and control access to the database. And then what is different about DBMS and database application program? Database application program is a computer program that interact with a database by issuing an appropriate request or statement, SQL statement to the DBMS. Example is like Traveloka, Tokopedia, Alibaba, and many more. And in this picture, show how user or application interact with database via DBMS. You can see a picture in the slide. Okay. Next, we discuss about data DBMS environment. In this slide, say that in the DBMS environment include hardware, software, data as bridge, and then people and procedure. Hardware is like server, networking. For the software is like operating system, program application. Data is a database. Procedure is a rule, how to do something. It's about business. It's about a process business. Role in the process business, and the people is as user. Okay. Next, in the next slide, we discuss about the database at DBMS advantage. What is the DBMS advantage? Number one is control of redundancy. Okay, DBMS can control a data only exists one, so do not allow duplicate of value in the database. Number two, the DBMS advantage is data consistency. What the meaning of data consistency? Data consistency is in the database system refer to the requirement that any given database transaction must change affected data only in allowed ways. Any data related to the database must be valid according to the all defined rules, including constraint, cascade, trigger, and any combination thereof. More information from the same amount of data. Number three, the DBMS advantage is more information from the same amount of data. Sharing data, the amount of data, sharing of data. Information, what the meaning of this? The meaning is information is centralized. So the amount is same, only from one source. And the number four, DBMS can improve security. DBMS provide authentication and authorization. Yeah, so only user has privilege can access the data. DBMS also provide recovery, restore, backup, and many features to avoid data loss. Yeah. And then next, the advantage of data DBMS is balance conflict requirement, yeah, improve data accessibility and responsiveness, yeah, increase productivity, and improve maintenance of the data independence. Yeah. Then next, the next slide discuss about DBMS disadvantage. Yeah. Number one is size. Data size in the DBMS is so big. Yeah. Cost of DBMS. When you use the DBMS, you need to provide a server and pay license for server for software. Yeah. And then additional hardware costs. You must employ IT staff. You must pay for server, yeah, for hardware costs. Yeah. And then cost for conversion is when you want to convert the data from data to the new one. You need a more effort in the conversion task. And then next, higher impact on failure. Yeah, when you fail in the implementation of database application, all business process will be collapse. This is the risk when you use DBMS. Okay, everyone, thank you for watching our video. See you in the session 2. Thank you. Hello everybody, welcome to video tutorial Introduction to Database. Today we will discuss about database environment and three-level architecture. Three-level architecture in the database. Now we are in the section 1. Discuss about Introduction to Database. In this video, we discuss next module, module 2, about database environment. And then module goals for this video is student will understand three-level database architecture. Okay, let me discuss first about component of DBMS environment. Okay, in the component of DBMS environment divided into 3 sections. It is machine, bridge, and human. In the machine side, there are hardware and software. The meaning of hardware and software. Hardware can run from a PC, to a network of computer. Maybe like server, PC, laptop, and all about physical component. It is hardware, and then next in the machine side there are software. What the meaning of software? Software is like DBMS. DBMS is database management system like Oracle, SQL Server, IBM DB2, and so on. Okay. The other sample of software is like operating system in the server, network software if necessary, and also the application program, it is software. Okay, and the next component that connect machine and human is bridge. Number 3 is bridge, where in the bridge there are data. What the meaning of data? Data used by the organization and description of this data called the schema. All the same. What the meaning of data? Data is like maybe information about you. Maybe your personal data, like your maybe if you are student in the campus. Maybe data about you is like student ID, student name, student gender, student email, and so on. Okay, and other data is like when you study in the classroom and all absent, maybe your presentation record by system, all your data transaction is saved in the data, especially in database. Okay, it is data, and then the next is procedure. What the meaning of procedure? Procedure is instruction and rule that shall be applied to the design and use of the database and DBMS. So the procedure is rule of business process. Maybe I can give an example like if you want to transfer your money from one account to another account, there are some rule in the bank account, like in one day limit of your transfer maybe about $1,000. It is procedure. And when you want to transfer money from your account to another account, another rules maybe apply, like your money is enough. Your money must be enough when you transfer money from one account to another account. Okay, it's about procedure. And then the last one is people. What the meaning of people? People is the user of the system. The user. User is like you and me. Maybe people is like end user, who use the system or the application. There are some user, maybe DBA. DBA is user, and maybe you and I as end user, that use the system or use the application. Okay, it is people in the DBMS environment. Okay, next topic we discuss about objective of three-level architecture. Why we need three-level architecture? Because all users should be able to access the same data. A user view is immune to change made in other view. So must be independent. Users should not need to know the physical database storage detail. This is the objective or purpose of three-level architecture. Okay, next in the slide. The next objective is DBA or database administrator should be able to change the database storage structure without affecting the user's view. Okay, and the next objective is internal structure of the database should be unaffected by change to physical aspect of storage. And the last one, the objective of three-level architecture is DBA or the database administrator should be able to change the conceptual structure of database without affecting all users. So this is the objective of three-level architecture for independency. Okay, next you can see the picture of ArchiSpark three-level architecture in the database. There are four sections. That is external level, that include user view 1, user view 2, and user view 3. And the layer 2 or section 2 is about conceptual level, conceptual schema, and the 3 section is internal level, and the last one is the physical data organization. What is external level. You can see in the external level is you can see the data in the external level. You can see the user view of a database. In the external level, describe that the part of database that is relevant to a particular user. Maybe user view for employee can see the data about employee ID, employee name, gender, maybe about salary. So the external level is about user view, user view of a database. Maybe employee, supervisor, director, finance, and so on. Okay. At the next level, in the conceptual level, in the conceptual level, there are community view of the database. Community view of the database. So in the conceptual level, there are some view of the database. In the conceptual level, describe what data is stored in the database and relationship among the data. So the conceptual, you can see in the conceptual community view of the database. And then the last one is internal level. In the internal level is a physical representation of database on the computer. How data stored in the database physically. In the internal level, describe how the data is stored in database, physically. Okay, you can see the picture in the slide, in the slide 11. In the external view, there are view 1 and external view 2. In the external view 1, there are staff number, first name, last name, age, and salary. And the external view 2, there are staff number, L name, and batch number. And then in the next level, in the conceptual level, there are community of view. From staff number, first name, last name, DUB, salary, and batch number. So in the conceptual level, there are a community of user view. And next, in the next level, is internal level. You can see in the internal level there are struct code that represent how the data stored in the database. Okay. Other example of three-level database architecture, in the external level there are student view, student number, name, email. In the conceptual level, there are student, student number, student name, student address, email, phone, and so on. Okay, and then in the internal level you can see the query about DDL or data definition language to create a table student. Okay, this is the next slide. In the slide 13, you can see data independence and the ANSYS Spark 3-level architecture. They are external conceptual mapping and conceptual or internal mapping. Logical data independence. What the meaning of logical data independence? Logical independence refer to immunity of the external schema to change in the conceptual schema. Maybe the conceptual schema change is like when you want to add or remove some entity in the view or in the model. Logical data independence should not require the change to the external schema or rewrite of the application program. So this is the advantage of logical data independence. And then next, about physical data independence. Physical data independence refer to immunity of the conceptual schema to change in the internal schema. Internal schema change is like when you using the different file organization like tree, B tree, hash, and other. When you want to change the file organization, you not need to change the conceptual or logical change in the conceptual or logical. So not required to change the conceptual or external schema. So if you want to change in the internal schema, you should not require the change to the conceptual or external schema. Okay, thank you for watching my video and see you in the next. Hello everybody, welcome to video tutorial introduction to database. This video is section 2 about the relational model. The section goals for this video is student will understand terminology of relational model, properties of database relation, how to identify candidate key, primary key and foreign key, and then meaning of the entity integrity and referential integrity. Then how to use the ER modeling in database. Module 3, the relational model. Module goals for this video is student will understand terminology of relational model, property of database relation. Number 2, the student will be able to identify candidate key, primary key, and foreign key. Number 3, the student will understand the meaning of entity integrity and referential integrity. In the slide 5, you can see relational model terminology. Okay, in the first statement say that a relation is a table with a column and row. So the relation is table. Yeah, relation is a table with column and row. Okay, this definition only applies to the logical structure of database, not the physical structure. So the relation is table, yeah, with column and row. Then attributes is name, column of a relation. Yeah, attribute is a name column of a relation. Yeah, and next, domain. What the meaning of domain? Domain is the set of allowable value for the one or more attribute. Maybe I will give you an example for relation. The relation is like a student, yeah, student relation, and attribute for student relation is student ID, student name, student gender, yeah, student address, and so on. And then for domain is the set of allowable value for one or more attribute. Yeah, the key is allowable value. Yeah, domain is the set of all allowable value. Maybe like when you input a gender, you just allow input male or female. Yeah, you just allow to input male or female. It is domain. Yeah, do not allow to input data in the gender attribute. Maybe like F or N. Yeah, not allowed. Yeah, domain is allowable value. Maybe I give another example, like if you want to input the data about address, you must type street. Yeah, street in the first statement. Yeah. It is the sample of attribute domain. Sorry, domain. The sample of domain. Yeah. Okay. Next, tuple. What the meaning of tuple? Tuple is row of relation. Yeah, tuple is a row of relation. And then degree. What the meaning of degree? Degree is the number of attribute in relation. Yeah, degree is the number of attribute or column in a relation or
table. Yeah. And then the cardinality. What the meaning of cardinality? Cardinality is the number of tuple in a relation. And then next, the relational database. What the meaning of relational database? Relational database is a collection of normalized relation with distinct relation name. Yeah. Relation database is collection of normalized relation. So collect of relation ya into one place ya. Relation database is collect of normalized relation with distinct relation name. So the name of relation in database must be different between one relation to another. Okay. This is the instance of branch number and staff relation. Yeah, you can see picture or you can see the picture instance of the branch and staff relation. Yeah, in the branch table, there are attribute branch number, street, city, and postcode. Yeah, and you can see the degree of relation branch is 4. Yeah, that is branch number, street, city, and postcode. Yeah, the degree of relation branch is 4, and then the cardinality of the relation branch is 5. Yeah, you can see the number of row. Yeah, the number of row in the branch relation. Yeah. Cardinality is the number of row, and the number of row in the branch relation is 5. Okay, next for the staff relation, you can see the degree. Yeah, degree is the number of attribute or column in the staff relation. Yeah, the number or degree in the staff relation is 8. Degree is the number of column or attribute. And next, cardinality. Cardinality of staff table is 6. You can count the total of row of staff relation is 6. So the cardinality of the staff relation is 6. Okay, this is about degree and cardinality in the relation. This is the example of attribute domain. Yeah, you can see attribute maybe branch number, domain name is a branch number. Yeah, and what the meaning of the domain name? Yeah, it is the set of all possible branch number. Yeah, and for domain definition is character size 4, and the range is from B001 until B888. Yeah, so that is a domain definition. Another example of attribute domain is like sex. Yeah, attribute is sex, domain name is sex, and the meaning is the sex of person. And the domain definition is character size 1. The value of sex is just male or female. So you're not allowed to input another value. Yeah, in this attribute or column, in the attribute or column sex. Okay, it is the symbol of attribute domain. Okay, alternative terminology for the relational model. You can see the formal term for table is relation, yeah. And the formal term for row is tuple, and the formal term for column is attribute. And you can see other alternative, yeah, for the table. Other alternative is file for row. Other alternative is record for the column. Other alternative is fill. Okay, slide 10 about database relation. What the meaning of relation schema? Relation schema is name relation defined by the set of attribute and domain name pairs. Yeah. And what is relational database schema? Set of relation schema, yeah, each with distinct name. Yeah, so the name in the relational database schema, it must be different. Yeah, the name of relation schema in the relational database schema must be different one to another. Okay, this is the property of relation. You can see the relation name is distinct from all other relation name in the one relational schema. And then its cell of relation contain exactly one atomic or single value. And then its attribute has distinct name. Yeah, its attribute has a distinct name. So maybe when you create a relation student, you not allow to create attribute name, student ID, student name and student name. Yeah, the name of attribute must be different. Yeah, must be different and has a distinct name. Must be a distinct. Yeah, in the one relation or in the one table. Value of an attribute are all from the same domain. Yeah, the value of an attribute are all from the same domain. So if you create the domain for gender is just for male and female, other instance in the from the table must be only allow value for female or male. Okay, next, its tuple is distinct. Yeah, its tuple is distinct. They are not duplicate tuple. You know? And then the order of attribute has no significance. Yeah, order of attribute has no significance. So you not need to worry about the order of attribute in the table. Maybe you can create student name, student ID, yeah, or you can create student ID, student name, it's same. Okay. Order of tuple has no significance theoretically. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is the property of the relation. Next, let's discuss about relational key. Yeah, this is the super key. What the meaning of super key? Super key is an attribute or set of an attribute that uniquely identified tuple within a relation. Yeah. Maybe I give an example like branch number, city, postcode are the selected as super key of branch relation. Okay. Next, candidate key. What the meaning of candidate key? Candidate key is super key such that no proper subset is a super key within the relation. In its tuple of R, value of K uniquely identify that the tuple uniqueness. Yeah. No proper subset of K has the uniqueness property irreducibility. Yeah. And then next about primary key. Yeah, primary key is a candidate key selected to identify tuple uniquely within relation. And then alternate key is candidate key that are not selected to be primary key. And then the last one is about foreign key. What do you mean foreign key? Foreign key is attribute or set of attribute within one relation that match candidate key of some possible same relation. Yeah. Okay. Next we discuss about integrity constraint. What the meaning of integrity constraint? Integrity constraint is make the data more more integrate. The data more consistent. Yeah, to make a data more consistent. Maybe I give an example like for the integrity constraint null, you can add not null. So maybe student ID, student name, varchar not null. So the user must input student name. Yeah, not allow input null value. It is integrity constraint for null. And the next integrity constraint is entity integrity. What the meaning of the entity integrity? Entity integrity is integrity for entity. Yeah, maybe like primary key not null. Yeah, primary key is not null. When you create a primary key on one attribute, it's automatically not null. Yeah. When you create a student ID maybe for a primary key, yeah, become the primary key, so the student ID automatically not null. Yeah. Okay, next, referential integrity. Referential integrity, if a foreign key exists in the relation, either foreign key value must match a candidate key value of the sum tuple in its home relation, or foreign key value must be wholly null. Okay, and then the next is about general constraint. What the meaning of general constraint? General constraint is additional rule. Yeah, usually the general constraint is a rule from company, yeah, or industry. Maybe I give an example like bank. Yeah. If the general constraint is like when you withdraw money, you have a limit for certain card. Yeah. Maybe for gold, you just allow to withdraw $1,000. It is general constraint. Yeah, general constraint is a rule by industry or company. Thank you for watching my video, and see you in the next video. Hello everybody, welcome to video tutorial introduction to database. Today we will discuss about relational model. Yeah, section 2, relational model. In this video, we are in module 4. Yeah, we discuss about entity relational model. The module goals for this video is student will able to use entity relationship or ER modeling in the database design. Okay. In the slide 5, you can see the concept of ER model. Yeah. There are entity type, relationship type, and attribute. What is entity type? Entity type is group of object with the same property identified by enterprise as having an independent existence. Yeah, entity type is like item, customer, yeah, staff, and many more. Yeah. So the definition of entity type is group of object. Yeah, maybe I give an example like item. Yeah, from an entity item, there are some object like candy, like toothbrush, and then maybe snack. Yeah, it is object. Yeah, object in the item entity. Yeah. Entity type is group of object with the same property. Yeah. Identified by enterprise as having an independent existence. And then entity occurrence is uniquely identifiable object of an entity type. There are two type for entity type. Yeah, there are two type of entity. Yeah. That is physical assistant and conceptual assistant. Yeah. For the physical assistant, is like staff, property, customer, part, supplier, product, and so on. Yeah. For the conceptual assistant, is like view, inspection, sell, yeah, work experience, level of game, and so on. Okay. Next, we discuss about relationship type. What the meaning of relationship type? In the relationship type, there are degree of relationship. What is degree of relationship? Degree of relationship is the number of participant entity in relationship. Yeah. Relationship of degree. There are three relationship of degree. Three section. Yeah. three type relationship of degree. Two relationship between two entity called binary. Relationship between three entity is ternary. Relationship between four entity is quaternary. This is the sample of binary relationship. Binary relationship is a relationship between two entity. You can see the sample on the slide. Private owner and property for n. Between two entity, there one relationship called P owns. That means private owner owns property for n. This is binary relationship between two entity, and the relationship is P owns. Next, in the next type of degree of relationship is ternary. Ternary is relationship between three entity. In the slide, you can see staff, client, and branch entity that connected with register. You can say for this model, you can set for this model, staff registers client, at a branch, at a certain branch. So you can say for this model, staff registers client, at a branch. This is called ternary, because connect with three entities. Registers relationship connect with three entities. Ternary. The next degree of relationship is quaternary. This is the sample quaternary. Quaternary connect for entity. You can see the sample on the slide. Solicitor arrange a bid on behalf of a buyer supported by a financial institution. All entity in the slide connect with arrange relationship. Four entity in the slide connect by arrange relationship. This is called a quaternary relationship. Next, relationship type. There are a recursive relationship type. What the meaning of recursive relationship type? Recursive relationship type is a relationship type where same entity type participate more than once in different role. Relationship may be give a role name to indicate purpose that its participating entity type play in a relationship. You can see the sample on the slide. This is a recursive relationship called supervised with role name. Staff entity. There are a staff entity on the slide. Staff role as supervisor, supervise. Staff role as supervisi. Staff role as supervisor, supervise. Staff as supervisi. This is the difference is the role. One as supervisor and one as supervise. You can call staff as supervisor, supervises. Staff as supervisi. This is called recursive relationship. Connect with itself. And the next, we discuss about attribute. What do we mean of attribute? Attribute is property of an entity or relationship type. And then attribute domain. What do we mean of attribute domain? Attribute domain is set allowable value for one or more attribute. Maybe I give you an example like when you want to input address, the address must be start with street, street word. That is attribute domain. Then another example, when you want to input a data branch ID, you must start with B character. It is attribute domain. Set of allowable value. Another example is like when you want to input gender, you must input male or female, just male or female. Okay. Another attribute is simple attribute. What the meaning of simple attribute? Simple attribute is attribute composed of a single component with an independent existence. And then other attribute is composite attribute. What the meaning of composite attribute? Composite attribute is composed of multiple component, each with an independent existence. And then there are single value attribute. Single value attribute is attribute that holds a single value for each occurrence of an entity type. Single value attribute is like gender, Gender, you must choose just one, male or female. And the next multi-value attribute. Multi-value attribute is like hobby, You can choose more than one. Maybe for hobby, your hobby may be football, basketball, and golf. You can choose more than once. Multi-value attribute is attribute that holds multiple value for each occurrence of an entity type. And then the derived attribute. Derived attribute, what the meaning of derived attribute? Derived attribute that represent a value that is derivable from value of a related attribute or set of attribute, not necessary in the same entity type. Derived attribute is like total, subtotal. Subtotal is derived from price multiple with quantity. And then other sample for a derived attribute is like age of person. Age of person is derived from date of birth and date of birth and the date of today. Okay, maybe for the simple attribute, I give an example like price. For a composite attribute, it's like address. Address is composed with multiple component. In the address, you can input street, and then country, and then number of home, and then some component. Other in the attribute, you must input some component, country, postcode, and then a street, and so on. That is called composite attribute. Attribute composed of multiple components. Okay, thank you for watching my video. See you in the next.
Hello everybody, welcome to video tutorial introduction to database. Today we will discuss about normalization, especially functional dependencies. This is the video module 5 discuss about functional dependencies. Module course for this video is student will understand the data redundancy, and then number 2, student will able to identify functional dependencies. Functional dependencies, what is it? Functional dependencies is main concept associated with normalization.
when you want to create a data model like ERD, you can use bottom up approach like normalization, or you can create a data model using top down approach using ER model. When you choose create the data model from the normalization approach, you must know about functional dependencies. Okay, what is functional dependencies? Functional dependencies is describe a relation between attribute in a relation or table. Okay, I will give an example, maybe like if A and B are attribute of the relation R, and then B is functionally dependent on A. Denote A arrow to B. Okay, if its value of A in relation R is associated with exactly one value of B in R relationship. Okay. It is functional dependencies. Okay. Next. You can see the slide 6 about the functional dependencies. Functional dependencies, property of the meaning or semantic of the attribute in a relation. You can see the diagrammatic representation of functional dependency. There are two attributes A and B, and you can see the arrow A arrow to B. This can describe as B is functional dependent on A. Okay, attribute B is functionally dependent on A. Okay, determinant of the functional dependencies refer to attribute or a group of attributes on the left hand side of the arrow. So the determinant is attribute A. Okay, next. In the next example of functional dependencies, in the slide give more real sample. There staff number attribute and position attribute in relation staff, where the staff number as determinant. So in this picture say that position is functionally dependent on staff number. Staff number as determinant, and we can say that position is functionally dependent on staff number. Okay, and you can see the example above. Staff number is L21 row to manager. This is the example. And how about if we exchange the position of the attribute? So the position become determinant. What happened? You can see position. It is the position cannot be determinant. So we can say that staff number is not functionally dependent on position. You can see the sample above. Manager cannot determine staff. So in the sample you can see manager may be staff number for SL21 or staff number SG5. This is mean staff number is not functionally dependent on position. Okay. Next, characteristic of functional dependencies. Okay, main characteristic of functional dependencies used in normalization. Okay, number one, there is a one-to-one relationship between the attribute on the left-hand side as a determinant and those on the right side as functional dependencies. It is hold for all time. Okay, the determinant has the minimal number of attributes necessary to maintain the dependency with the attribute on the right hand side. Okay, that is the characteristic of functional dependencies. Okay, next. For functional dependencies, divided into three sections. Yeah, that is full functional dependencies, partial dependencies, and transitive dependencies. Okay. This is the example of functional dependencies that hold for all the time. Yeah. Okay. Consider the value shown in the staff number and staff name attribute of the set staff relation. Yeah. Based on the stable data, the following functional dependencies appear to hold staff number row to staff name. Staff name row to staff number. So the staff this row say that staff number determine staff name, yeah, and staff name can determine staff number. Yeah. However, the only functional dependencies that remain true for all possible value for the staff number and staff name attribute of the staff relation is staff number row to staff name, or we can say that staff number as a determinant and staff name functional dependency to staff number. So staff number can determine staff name. Okay, this is the example of functional dependency that hold for all time. Okay, type of functional dependency, it is full functional dependencies. Yeah. Determinant should have the minimal number of attribute negation to maintain the functional dependencies with the attributes on the right hand side. Yeah, indicate that if A, this is the example. Yeah, you can read the statement that full functional dependencies indicate that if A and B are attribute of A relation. Yeah, B is functional dependent on A if B is functionally dependent on A, but not any proper subset of A. So only dependent on A, attribute A. It is full functional dependencies. Maybe I give another example that more easy to understand. Like if you know about detailed transaction, yeah, in the detailed transaction there are three attributes, yeah, ID transaction, ID item, and quantity. Quantity is full dependencies on ID transaction and ID item. Yeah, it is called full functional dependencies. But if in the detailed transaction there are another attribute like maybe item name, it is partial dependencies because item name is just depend on item ID, yeah, not depend on ID transaction. So item name that depend on functional dependencies on item name, yeah, item name functional dependencies on item ID. We can call it partial dependencies because the item name just depend on item ID only. Okay, but for quantity, it is full functional dependencies because quantity is full dependent on ID transaction and item ID. Okay. For the next type of functional dependencies is transitive dependencies. You can see in the slide that what is transitive dependencies? Transitive dependencies is a condition where A, B, and C are attribute of the relation such that if A determine B, B determine C. Okay, then C is transitively dependent on A via B. Yeah, provided that that A is not functional dependently on B or C. That is theoretically. Yeah. Okay, next. More detail about transitive dependencies you can see in the last slide. Yeah. Transitive dependencies. Okay, it is important to recognize transitive dependencies. Okay, because its existence in the relation can potentially cause update anomaly. Okay, consider a functional dependencies in the staff branch number relation. Yeah, staff number determine staff name, position, salary, branch number, and branch address. We can say that branch number determine branch address. Transitive dependencies said that branch number determine branch address. Yeah, exists on the staff number via branch number. Okay, it is the example of transitive dependencies, or in another theoretical, we can say that transitive dependencies is where their non-key attribute depend on non-key attribute. Yeah. Okay, maybe I give an example. Branch address depend on branch number. Yeah, functional dependency the branch number, but branch number is functional dependencies on staff number. So we can say that B address or branch address depend on staff number. Branch number in this relation, in the staff relation, is not a key. Branch address in the staff relation is not a key, and branch number in the staff relation is not a key. So this is the transitive because branch address as non-key attribute depend on branch number as non-key attribute. So we can call it is transitive dependencies. So transitive is where their non-key attribute depend on non-key attribute. Okay, enough for this video. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next video. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome in Introduction to Database video. This video is 6th video. We're gonna talk about normalization. With me, like Christian. So what is normalization? Normalization is a technique for producing a set of suitable relations that support data requirement of an enterprise. The characteristic of suitable set relation: first, minimal number of attributes necessary to support requirement of enterprise. Second, attribute with close logical relationship found in the same relation. Third, minimal redundancy with each attribute, exception for foreign key. The benefit of using normalized database: easier for user to access and maintain the data. Lastly, take up minimal storage space on the computer. When design database with bottom-up approach, we can use normalization to create set of relation. In top-down approach, we can use normalization as a validation technique to check structure of relation. We're gonna use top-down approach first. After that, we will bottom-up approach. First, normal form. First, normal form requires that no multi-value attribute exists. We can see in the picture, there is a classroom attribute is multi-value attribute. Of course, in the school building relation. This is first normal form violation. We need to create new relation, classroom relation. So now we in first normal form. Now you see in the picture, all the entities are first normal form violation. You can pause the video and examine the entities. So first, student entity. Second, shopping mall entity. Third, team and league entities. Are there any multi-value attribute? Now check your answer. Second normal form requires that any non-UID attribute be dependent on the entire UID. We can see in the picture, product supplier entity, supplier name is not dependent on the entire UID. Supplier number and product number. Supplier name dependent only on supplier number. We need to create new entity to store the supplier data. Again, you can pause the video and see this normal form violation. What's wrong with this diagram? If your answer is item price, you're right. Third normal form. Third normal form that no non-UID attribute can be dependent on another non-UID attribute. See the picture. Can you find the third normal form violation? You can pause the video. If your answer is store address dependent on store name, yes, you're right. Again, third normal form that no non-UID attribute can be dependent on another non-UID attribute. Now we understand to use normalization for validation technique in top-down approach. Now we will learn to use normalization in bottom-up approach. So first, we will have a normalized form. We list all attributes, so there are client number, client name, property number, property address, rent start, rent finish, rent, owner number, and owner name. Now we go to the first normal form. Don't forget in this form that no multi-value attribute exists. So we create a new entity, property rental owner, that have a client number, property number, until owner name. All of that is multi-value attribute. Now we see from the first normal form to get to second normal form. We can see in the property rental owner, the UID attribute are client number and property number. Now, what are the attributes that dependent to entire UID? Client number, property number. And what are attributes that dependent only to property number? Now we see the result of second normal form. To get the third normal form, that no non-UID attribute can be dependent on another non-UID attribute. See the result of second normal form. Can you find the third normal form violation? Again, you can pause the video. If your answer owner name dependent on owner number, yes, you are right. So, that's all for normalization. Until next time, see ya! Hello everyone, welcome in Introduction to Database video. This video is a 7th video. We're gonna learn first SQL data definition. With me, like Christian. We will learn about create table, SQL data type, and integrity constraint. Now, we can see in the picture, these are SQL data type. We will use this common SQL data type, char for fixed length character, varchar for varying length character, numeric and decimal for decimal value. There are 5 integrity constraints. First, required data or mandatory is attribute that must have value. Second, domain constraint, possible value for attributes. Third, entity integrity, primary key cannot have null value. Fourth, referential integrity, foreign key has 2 types of possible value. First is null, if it is not mandatory, and revert primary key value. And lastly, general constraint, actually is enterprise rules. This is example of required data. We can use not null clause after the column. This is example of domain constraint on column level. We can use check clause, or we can give a name to constraint, and we put the constraint after the column. This is an example of domain constraint on table level. We put the constraint below in create table. This is example of entity integrity. We can put the primary key clause after column, or we put it on the table level. If you have a composite key, we need to put primary key on table level. Here's the example. We can only have one primary key clause per table. If we want to have a unique attribute, we can use unique clause, and here's the example. Here's the example of referential integrity. We can put on column level and table level. Foreign key in child table is linked to matching row of primary key on parent table. Referential integrity means that if foreign key contains a value, that value must refer to existing row in parent table. Now we will learn about referential action. Referential action specify using on update and on delete subclauses. Now we will see example referential action using on delete. The first subclause, you can use cascade. Delete row from parent will delete matching row in child, and so on in cascading manner. Set null, delete row from parent, and set foreign key column in child to null. Set default, delete row from parent, and set each component of foreign key in child to specify default. No action, reject delete from parent. This no action clause is a default. Here is the example of referential action on update subclause. And here is the example of referential action on delete subclause. Create R session only exists in Oracle DBMS. If we use MySQL or Microsoft SQL, we cannot create it. This is complete create syntax for customer table. We don't need to use all integrity constraint in a table. So that's all for first SQL data definition. Until next time, and see ya. Hello everyone, welcome in Introduction to Database video. This video is 8th video. We're gonna talk about second SQL data definition. With me, like Christian. We will learn to change table structure with alter table clauses and remove table with drop table clause. Alter table used to change the structure of a table, like add a new column to a table, drop a column from a table, add a new table constraint, drop a table constraint, set a default for a column, and drop a default for a column. The example for add new column on existing customer table, alter table clause, table name is customer, add clause, column name is email, data type is varchar, with length 100. Here's the syntax for drop a column. Alter table clause, table name, drop column clause, and the column name. Here's the example. Alter table clause, table name is customer, drop column clause, and the column is email. Here's the syntax for alter table in a table, alter table clause, table name, alter table column clause, and the column name with the data type. And the example, alter table clause, table name is customer, alter column clause, the column name is email, data type varchar, and the length is 50. Here's the syntax for add new constraint. Alter table clause, table name, add constraint clause, constraint name, followed with constraint. And the example, alter table clause, table name is customer, add constraint clause, constraint name is email CS, followed by check clause. Here's the syntax for drop a constraint. Alter table clause, table name, drop constraint clause, and the constraint name. And the example, alter table clause, table name is customer, drop constraint clause, and the constraint name is email CS. Here's the syntax for set default to column. Alter table clause, table name, add default clause, default value, for clause followed by column name. The example, alter table clause, table name is customer, add default clause, default value with an email, for clause followed by column name is email, drop table. Drop table used for remove table in database. Here's the syntax for drop table. Drop table clause, table name, followed by optional clause, restrict or cascade, and the default is restrict. With restrict, if any other object depend for their existence on continued existence of this table, SQL does not allow requests. With cascade, SQL drop all dependent object and object dependent on this object. So be careful if you drop the table with cascade clause. Here's this example of drop table. We drop the customer table. So that's all for second SQL data definition. Until next time, see ya. Hello everyone, welcome in Introduction to Database video. This video is an in video. We're gonna talk about first SQL data manipulation. With me, Lai Christian. In this video, we will learn to insert new data, update the data, delete the data, and a simple way to get data. These are the database that we use in this video. You can pause the video if you want. Here's the syntax that we use to insert new data. Insert into clause, table name. You can list the column, but it is optional. Value clause, and the data value list. We must note, data value list must match column list as follows. Number of items in each list must be same. Must be direct correspondence in position of item in two lists. Data type of each item in data value list must be compatible with the data type of corresponding column. Here's the example of insert a new row into staff table. Here's the example of insert a new row in staff table only mandatory column. This is syntax for update data in table. Update clause followed by table name, set clause followed by column name, and a new value for the column. Where clause and search condition, but it is optional. Set clause specify of one or more column that are to be updated. Where clause is optional. If omitted, name column are updated for all in table. It specify the only those rows that satisfy search condition are updated. New data value must be compatible with data type for the corresponding column. Here's the example of update row. Without where clause and the condition, all row will update it. The syntax for delete row. Delete from clause, followed by table name, where clause, followed by search condition, but it is optional. Again, search condition is optional. If omitted, all rows are deleted from the table. This does not remove the table, only affect to row. If search condition is specified, only those rows the specified condition are deleted. Here's the example to delete rows. This is syntax for get data from table. We can use select clause followed by column name, the from clause followed by table name, where condition, group by with column list, having condition, order by with column list. The order of clauses cannot be changed. Only select and from are mandatory. Select specify which column are to appear in output. From specify table to be used. Where filter the rows. Group by form the group of the row with the same column value. Having filter group subject to some condition. Order by, specify the order of the output. Here's the example of select all column and all row. We can use star symbol as an abbreviation of all column. And here's the result of our query. Here's the example of result of select specific column and all row. We will learn more about select in the next video. So that's all for the first SQL data manipulation. Until next time, and see ya! Hello everyone, welcome in Introduction to Database video. This video is the 10th video. We're gonna talk about second SQL data manipulation. With me, Lai Christian. In this video, we will learn about get data from the table, continue from nin video, filter the data, sort the data, and get data from multiple tables. These are the database that we use in this video. You can pause the video if you want. Here's the example of select use distinct clause. Distinct clause you can use for remove all the same row. Here's the example of select data with calculated field. Calculated field will not have column name showed. If we want to set the column name, we can use S clause followed by column name, only for showing the data. So the column name will be temporary just for showing the data. Here's the example of select with filter row. We use where clause followed by condition for filter the data. Here's the example of select filter row with comparison condition. We use and or clause. If we have a range search condition, we can use between and clause. Here's the example. We can use in clause for filter data with membership. Here's the example. We use like clause in where if we want filter data with a pattern. SQL has two special pattern matching symbols. % for sequence or 0 or more character. Underscore for any single character. For order the result of select, we use order by clause followed by column name, and this is the example. We can add DESC or ASC clause. ASC for ascending result, DESC for descending result. We can order by with multiple column. Here's the example. Now, we will learn to get data from multiple table called join. Here's the example of simple join. In form clause, we use client table with alias C and viewing table with alias V. And this is the interesting part. In where clause, we need to compare primary key, which is client number from table client table, from foreign key, which is client number from viewing table. Or we can use join clause. Here's the example. So from So from clause, then first table, then join clause, then second table, then on clause, and then compare primary key and foreign key, like a simple join. If we want to select from more than one table, here's the example for simple join. And this is the example with join clause. So that's all for second SQL data manipulation. Hope we learn good stuff. Until next time and see ya!